What's up, guys? Welcome back from the Diablo 3 Ultimate Beginner's Guide video. This video is going to be going over a detailed overview of Kanai's cube. I'm going to go through each one of the recipes. I'm going to demo it. I'll show you the location and kind of give you my thoughts and advice for each recipe, and what you should be doing with each one and kind of like the benefits and everything like that. Alright, so the location of Kanai's cube, right? Once you load into adventure mode, you're going to go to the town portal, whatever. You're going to Act 3 and go to the ruins of Secheron, right? Now this zone is going to be randomized, so it's going to be different for you than what it is on this screen. But the idea here is you're going to traverse through this zone until you find the entrance to the Elder Sanctum, as you can see, which is up here. And once you go into there, that's going to be the zone where the cube is going to be located. And I'll show you what that zone kind of looks like and what you're going to be kind of looking for. Now this is the Elder Sanctum. This zone is also going to be randomly generated, so once you get in here, just explore, right? And what you're looking for is, on the map, it's going to look like this, right where I'm standing. And it looks like this room right here, which Kanai's cube's in. You can just go in there and grab it. As you can see, it looks like a hole in the wall, a literal hole in the wall. So you just kind of keep traversing this area until you find this. Once you jump in, you can just go through the dialogue, you can grab it, and then when you go back to town, the Kanai's cube will be right there, ready to go. Alright, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the extraction of legendary items. Now, one thing I'll note is, depending on what class you're playing, you're only going to be able to have access to certain things that is usable for that class. So, if you extract everything, and you fill up these lists that are in here, you still won't have everything. Just like if you're on Demon Hunter, you extract every item that's in here, and then you go to, like, I don't know, another class like a Necromancer or a Mage, there's still going to be stuff that, the Necromancer and Mage can select, that are not going to be in this list. But that doesn't mean you can't extract them. You can still extract off-class items if you find them, on, so let's say a Demon Hunter. So this will be the first, main kind of like, recipe for the cube. It's going to use one of each of the bounty materials and 5 DBs. DBs you can get from doing Nephilim Rifts, and also from bounty caches and the Challenge Rift cache. And then these are going to be your Act 1, 2, 3, 4, and Act 5 bounty materials, which come from doing bounties and also from the Challenge Rift. Now, one thing I'll note is, how do you tell if you have a legendary power extracted? So as you can see on these Nemesis bracers, I do not have this extracted yet. So you can see, like, where it says shrines and pylons will spawn enemies. The diamond on the side of that next to shrines is hollowed out. What that means is it's not extracted. So what we'll do is we'll go and just throw this in here. We'll hit fill. It'll automatically put everything in there, and then we will transmute here. And as you can see, then we can go over to here. Nemesis bracers is now selectable in here. And now if I roll over the Nemesis bracers that I'm wearing, you'll see that that diamond is filled in. Any legendary power that has a filled in diamond next to its legendary power means that it's been extracted already. Okay. And we'll try to like illustrate some other stuff here too. We'll extract a few more items. This is a Witch Doctor, item, and this is a Crusader weapon, right? And this is just to illustrate that you can still, extract this stuff, on a class that can't actually wear it. So we'll, get that extracted. It says new power extracted, and it shouldn't even be in this list at all. As you can see, Mask of Jurim is not even on here. But if we log into like a Witch Doctor, then it'll have access to that as well. And then, the same thing for the Crusader item, right? We can extract it, no problem. We'll just keep like extracting these, as you can see. Like, for me, I like extracting everything. I like to just collect everything. If you're playing in a season and you're only going to be using one build, then you can just save your bounty mats. But like, if you're like me, like non-season, I like to just try to like, grab everything possible. I have a lot of things already extracted on non-season. So what you have to kind of keep in mind is, like, if you've already got a power extracted non-season, and you don't need it in the current season, don't waste the bounty mats extracting it, because at the end of the season, it's all going to combine. There's no need in wasting extra bounty materials. This weapon, actually, I'm going to talk about this Anzarath. I've been using this pretty religiously for, like, self power leveling. I think this is a really good item to actually put in the queue, and because the way it works is, like, whenever you're running on a low character, that 25-yard radius that does weapon damage is going to keep proccing. It really helps with like the 1 to 30, 1 to 40 kind of leveling. But we'll go and extract that, and that'll pretty much, conclude the extract legendary portion. Next up is going to be the, Reforged Legendary. This one is really, really expensive, right? So you only use this like in really, if you have a lot of mats, or if you just direly need like an ancient, or if you're searching for a primal for a certain thing. But it's going to cost a little bit more of the bounty mats, 5 per, and it's going to have to cost 50 Forgotten Souls. You get Forgotten Souls by salvaging legendaries, and if you salvage ancients, you get 3. If you salvage primals, you get 15. So keep that in mind. I usually have this open kind of whenever I'm reforging or doing anything with the cube, just so I can kind of track how much I've got going. Now, something I'll note here about reforging: if you have a non-level 70 version of a legendary and you reforge it, it will not become a level 70. It'll stay the same item level of the original piece. The other thing that you need to take into consideration is legacy pieces. Now, I don't have any legacies on this season, but to give you an example, the Hunter's Wrath was increased from 60% increased damage to 200, up to 200. So if you would take a old Hunter's Wrath and you put it in here and reforge it, it is not going to make it a new, it's still going to be a legacy. And I found this out the hard way whenever they updated or added increased damage to Holy Point Shot. I put in my old legacy, and when I reforged it, it was still a legacy. So in the case of like updated items or things like that, you're gonna have to go out and find new ones for that. But reforging is pretty simple. It basically just simulates the item that you're putting in dropping again. So as you can see, this one, we're gonna put this Flavor of Time in. It's got physical, dex, area damage, cooldown, and movement. So you just hit fill, and we transmute, and then now we got a physical, dex, vitality, cooldown, movement speed. And you do this multiple times, right? Until you kind of like get something that you're looking for. But like I said, really expensive, really expensive. So keep that in mind whenever you're like using this. I usually tend to use this kind of thing whenever I'm, like I'll probably end up using it for Flavor of Time, and I'll probably end up using it for 9th Series Satchel, because everything else is ancient that I've got. I've just been having a really hard time finding a good ancient of Flavor of Time and 9th Series. So in that case, I would definitely, take these items into the cube, farm a bunch of bounties, and just kind of, spend those resources in trying to like get something that's decent. All right, next up is going to be the upgrade rare item, right? This one's actually really, really useful, and it just costs DBs 25 and then have 50 reusable parts, arcane dust, and veil crystals. You get these just by, salvaging, common, magical, and rare items. The proper way to use this really is to like as a response to like what you get from Kadala. Another thing I'll make a note of is make sure if you're going after a legendary item, make sure you know the type of item that you're going for. Okay, so if you're playing on Barbarian and you're going for a, let's say you're going for some sort of mighty weapon, right? If you upgrade just regular swords, you're not going to get a mighty weapon, right? So we'll make a couple of things here. So we have a sword, right? And that's the thing is always know exactly what you're going for. And also we'll go into Kadala here. We'll buy a few quivers, and then we'll get a couple of one-handers, two-handers, things like that. So just to kind of illustrate this a little bit. So we upgrade a sword, for instance, right? Thunder Fury. This is going to be based on the class you're playing as well. So if you're looking for a certain thing, make sure you're kind of like, utilizing Loot 2.0, and, if it's more common to drop on a certain class, you can actually go in and grab it that way. So we'll like put in a mighty weapon, right? You see now we're getting like barbarian stuff, right? Because barbarians are the only ones using mighty weapons. And just keep in mind, I've seen a lot of people on Reddit and talking about how they like, upgraded. Like more recently, I saw a guy who's spent the first week of the season trying to get a Dawn, but he was actually upgrading two-handed crossbows. Right? It sounds stupid, but a lot of people make the same mistake. Just like this one-handed crossbow here, we'll upgrade that. Boom, done. And then also you got like a just a regular crossbow two-hander, right? And this is a good way to just kind of like target certain pieces in farming. And it's a little bit more manageable. It's a little cheaper than just reforging. To try to find something decent if you already have the item. that's just not good. But like I said, not too complicated. I usually, if I'm really hunting an item, I'll like go over here. I'll use blood shards, fill up my bags, or use all my blood shards, and then if I don't get it, I'll, do another, kind of pass through the cube and upgrade stuff until I find something. But normally, if you're going to play a lot, if you're going to grind a lot, and you're going to use a lot of blood shards, you can do a lot of rifts, you could probably save your mats and just kind of hope it drops, naturally. And that's just going to save you more overall. We're going to go and get rid of all this stuff because it's all trash. But yeah, I mean, it's knowing when to upgrade items and when not to. It depends on like kind of like how fast you need the item. If you're trying to complete the build, like right now I have a complete build, so I'm just going after ancients. So it's probably not, viable for me to upgrade rare items to try to complete something. If you're trying to actually complete the build so that it functions correctly, then absolutely, run rifts until you like fill up your blood shards, go to Kadala, buy a bunch of stuff, start upgrading the rare stuff that you get in the slot, and then kind of rinse and repeat until you get it. That just adds another layer of like kind of like farming in town to help you kind of like narrow down slots and finish stuff off. Right, next up is going to be the convert set item. Now keep in mind the result of this recipe cannot be ancient, right? So this is not for like finding ancient set items. I use this to complete sets, right? It's the best way to do it, honestly. It takes DBs, 10 Forgotten Souls, 10 DBs, which you can get from, normal rifts and salvaging legendaries. So kind of give you an idea of like the proper way to do this. Like let's say you're, trying to complete a set. We've got this set item in here just in case we don't, get lucky. I'll usually, when I'm trying to just work on completing an entire set, I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to buy a bunch of boots. Blackthorns. So that's our set proc, right? So let's pop over here back to the convert set item. You pretend like this is any set boots, right? We're going to illustrate just how this works. So you hit fill, right? It puts it in there. You transmute. It's going to give you one other piece of that set that you didn't put in, right? So we put in boots. We're going to get potentially one of the other, pieces of that set that's not including boots, right? So there's pants, chest, and it just kind of like, randomly cycles through. Same thing for like, other sets as well. Okay. So the way this works and how you complete sets is like you're running rifts, and every time you come out to spend blood shards, just dump everything into boots. It doesn't matter if you get duplicate. Let's say you're going for like the Gears of Dreadlands set. It doesn't matter if you get multiple Gears of Dreadland boots, because all you're going to do is you're going to just keep the better boot, take all the extra boots, and convert them into the other pieces you don't have. And you keep going through that cycle, always keeping the better item until you complete the set. And this actually happens really, really quick. I only had like 400 or so things, there. This can also be combined with upgrade rare item, right? So we bought a bunch of boots from Kadala. We're gonna go over here. We can upgrade boots until we get a set item to proc and watch. Since I'm recording, it's probably not gonna give me a set item. All right, so there we go. We got UE, boots. So we got those. Convert set item. We'll go in here, do that, and you can go and like upgrade all these rare boots that you got from Kadala, and then just start playing the little cycling game, until you get all the sets. This is actually a strategy I used to, I didn't have all the set items on my non-season there. I mean, I got purged a lot of my items, like last year or so, but I decided I wanted to, kind of hold all the set items on non-season. So it only took me a week actually of like just, casual play, but in a week's time, probably about 5 days using this strategy, I managed to get every single set piece for every single class. It works. And all you have to do is just, keep feeding Kadala blood shards and then use upgrade rare item and then in conjunction with convert set item, and you'll get there, right? Like I said, you can't get ancients from this, recipe, but really it's, more or less useful for just actually getting a set complete. And you can worry about like, reforging and or other things to get like the ancient pieces of it. All right, next up is going to be the remove level requirement. Now, commonly, I don't use this on weapons because you can just take a Gem of Ease and slot or sock it into a weapon, and it gives it a level 1 requirement. But just in case you want to, like, self power level, and you want to put like a really big gem, like a emerald or a usually if you're leveling, you want to put like a ruby in, then you can remove the requirement on a weapon, right? But this recipe, that's all it is. It's pretty simple. You just take an equipable item and then a level 25 gem of ease, which you can get from, you can just level this up in like greater rifts, and you can remove the level requirement on any piece of gear. I'm gonna demo this on this accursed vestige. This is a primal. It doesn't have to be primal. Like, it can be any item. It's legendary. Actually, it doesn't even have to be legendary. It could be rare or whatever. But very simple. Like, you'll just put the item in the cube along with your gem of ease, right? You see this is a requires level 70 currently, and then you just hit transmute. You see now it just doesn't have a level requirement at all. So if we go into like a level 1 demon hunter, then we'll be able to equip this. It's kind of like, I don't know. I guess you could use it more or less on weapons, but it depends on like really what you're after. Leveling in Diablo is really easy. I have in the past, just for like fun, removed level requirements for an entire build, and then just put an entire build on a level 1 character, and the fun doesn't last very long, right? Because they level up so fast. But I'm sure you could find like uses for having a full set, or even like certain items, right? At level 70, not even our level 1. It doesn't even have to be like, you could like make nemesis bracers like level 1 for leveling, or make a flavor of time level 1 for leveling and everything like that. But like I said, you can do it on weapons as well, even just in case you wanted to make like a weapon level 1 and then put like a max level ruby in there, or an emerald or anything. But yeah, not super complicated. I don't use this a whole lot. Even if I'm like self power level, maybe, but most of the time I'm just gonna put a gem of ease in a weapon and level up that way pretty quick. Next up is the converting gems. Now, this one is pretty useful, actually. I end up using this one quite a bit. It requires 9 of any gem, right? And this can be any level of gem, right? You can upgrade these all the way if you want, and then convert them. And then you got to put in 1 of these essences, right? And the way you get essence is if you go to Act 2, and you go to Hidden Camp, which is the town in Act 2, and then you go over here to Squirt the Peddler. In her miscellaneous tab is going to be all the essences. They cost, $500,000 a piece. Whichever essence you put into the cube is what the gem is going to convert into. So for the sake of this, since I'm a demon hunter, we're just going to like, convert using the essence of emerald. Okay. So we go in here, we can put any gem. Like, this is what the benefit of actually picking up. I know a lot of people don't pick up like every gem that they're not going to be using. I pick up everything, absolutely everything. So like you'll see, we have like 45 of these amethysts. We're gonna put that in there with this essence, and that just adds more. It just converts to 9 of them, and you can keep doing this as much as you want. Put it in there. It takes a little while, if you're doing a good number of them. But it allows you to, and this kind of works with augmenting as well. When you start augmenting, you're going to need max level gems of a certain type, whatever you're going to be augmenting onto gear. And so if you're picking up everything, every gem, then you can go over here and convert everything to the type that you need, and then craft them up to use for augments. Like I said, this one's not very difficult. It's very useful just to kind of like keep yourself stocked on certain types of gems. Right, for this next section, I'm going to cover converting reusable parts, and converting arcane dust, and then converting veiled crystals. These are pretty much the same, just depending on what you want to convert over. But the idea is, we're going to take, like for this one, for convert reusable parts, we're going to take 100 reusable parts, and then we're going to convert it into whatever the associated rarity is that we put in the cube for it. So if we put a magical item, then it'll convert 100 reusable parts to arcane dust. If we put a rare item, it'll convert the reusable parts into veiled crystal. And the same thing for these other ones, right? So they use the death breath, so arcane dust to either reusable or veiled crystal, and then veiled crystal and either to reusable or arcane. So, and another thing you can do, you can go to actually a vendor and buy items to use for this. So let's say we're going to buy a magical item, we're going to buy this rare item, and then we're going to buy this war belt. And an interesting fun fact here is you can actually buy an infinite amount of, like, common items to convert into reusable parts. And chances are you're going to run out of usually one or two of the reusable parts, depending on what you're doing, if you're crafting or whatever. So we're going to do this first. We're going to go ahead and we're going to convert. We'll go and convert some reusable parts. What I usually normally do is I try to keep my stuff even as much as possible if I'm really low. I'm not really low right now on anything, but kind of the way this works. We're going to take 100 reusable. We're going to throw in this rare item, right? And we're basically going to just make 100 veil crystals. Just converted it over. Simple. And then let's say we have arcane dust. We're going to convert this over to 100 arcane dust. We're going to convert over to reusable parts. Just like that. And then, like, for veiled crystals, right? We're going to take 100 veiled crystals and we'll, like, I guess we'll throw them back over to arcane dust. This is a good way to kind of even things out if you're definitely low on one of the three. And I use probably convert reusable parts more. Actually, not arcane dust probably is the one I use the most. So like you see, I have 1400 here, and so what I'm going to do is I could just sit here and keep converting into reusable parts until, like, they're roughly even. But that would take a long time because I've got over 10,000 of each. But just keep in mind that from vendors, you can get basically an infinite amount of common items to do this with. And so even if you have a ton of, like, arcane dust or whatever, if you have a ton of one of them, there's always options to use this cube recipe or one of these cube recipes to kind of flesh out the other ones. Next up, we've got the Augment Ancient item, right? This one's a really important, really good in-game, progression thing for, like, getting more main stat on your weapons. So, for instance, let's look at like this Yangtze curve, right? See down there, it has 450 dexterity at the bottom, which shows a rank 90. That basically means it has a rank 90 augment on it, which means that 90 is the level of the gem that I put in there to get that dexterity. Okay, so the requirements for this recipe, I don't know why my guy keeps moving away. You need an ancient item. It has to be ancient. You need a legendary gem. And then if you want to augment, the lowest level that the gem has to be for a weapon is 30. For jewelry, it has to be level 40 plus. And then for armor, it has to be level 50 plus. It doesn't take very long to level gems, right? So I almost never put anything lower than a 50 on anything, right? And then you need one of the following here, which is going to be, my mouse wheels. Cause my guy to move away. But the way it works is if you put in an amethyst, right, it's going to put vitality as a bonus stat on the item. If you put in an emerald, it's going to give you dexterity. Strength you'll get from ruby. Topaz you'll get intellect. And then that's all of them, right? So unless you're playing like a Z-barb or like some sort of support class, then you probably won't put an amethyst on. You won't augment vitality. But if you're playing like a monk or a DH, you're going to put emeralds. If you're playing a crusader or barbarian, you're going to put rubies in with it. And then, wizard, necromancer, witch doctor, going to be a topaz, right? So we're going to demo this real quick. The newest piece that I've gotten that's ancient is these nemesis bracers, right? Cold dex with some crit, right? So, and it has no augment, as you can tell. So what we do is, all we do is put in the ancient item, and we're going to put in this level 100 gem. And we're also going to put in 3 max level emeralds. What this is going to do is this is going to result in giving the item an additional 500 dexterity. So let's go ahead and transmute. There you go. See? Right there at the bottom it says plus 500 dexterity because of a level 100 gem that I put on it. The way you can calculate this is it's the same as Paragon, right? Think about it this way. So the way Paragon works is every Paragon point that you put into dexterity gives you 5 dexterity. Okay? Every level of an augment, every level of a gem that you put on is going to give you 5 dexterity. So I guess the way to compare this was, since I just added 500 dexterity to this bracer, that's the same as if I just instantly went up 100 levels in Paragon. You need both of these things. You need both, to stack Paragon, get high augments in order to get your main stat really high for progression, survivability, all that good stuff. You can also replace augments. So, like this focus here, this is one of the first augments that I did. And you can tell right here, it has, at the very bottom, you see 260 dexterity. It has a rank 52 augment on it. The same thing, you're going to go through the same process to replace an augment, right? So if I, have a level 100 gem, I can just throw this in here and put in the other materials I need, like the 3 emeralds and the gem. And it's just going to replace that 52 with whatever I just, more recently put in. You can also back down too, So if, let's say I came in here with a level 50 gem and I put in a 50 gem, 3 emeralds, it's going to replace the 52 with a 50. And you just keep keep that in mind. You can just replace them. They can be re-augmented. You can't remove the augment completely. The best you can do is, put it at the lowest level. All right, the last thing we're going to cover, these are unlisted recipes, okay, is the cow level and the vault. Now, for the cow level, you need to put in this pole arm here. It's a bovine. I call it a cow stick. And you can either find it, to normal drops, but you can also go to a crusader. Like, you can even roll a level 1 crusader, go craft a bunch of pole arms, and then put this in the cube, upgrade rare until you get it. And what this does is, if you just put this in the cube by itself, it'll open the cow level. And this cow level is actually really good. It has a lot of chests, it has some shrines, it also has at least, it can have up to 3, I think, pools of reflection in it. Okay. The other thing you can do is, for puzzle rings, you put a puzzle ring in here, and you hit transmute. It'll open up a vault. The vault is a great place to actually, get some goblins and stuff like that, and fight greed and get some gold and, just nice little extra place you can go. The vault can also be opened up from a random goblins you might find in adventure mode while doing bounties and things like that. If you put here I have an ancient puzzle ring here. If you put an ancient puzzle ring into the cube, it'll actually open an ancient vault. So instead of just normal mobs in here, every single mob in the ancient vault will be a goblin. So it'll be a lot of drops. I'm not gonna put it in there for this video because I'm, saving it. Actually, no. Let's complete this vault here real quick, and I'll just go ahead and we'll go ahead and run it. And so you can't open up another vault until you actually finish the one that's currently open. So what that requires you to do is you go all the way to the end and kill greed. Greed is the monster. Like, whenever you're playing seasonal, or if you ever fought greed in non-season, you need to fight greed. And the first time you defeat him, you'll get a legendary gem called Boon of the Hoarder, which I'll show you that when we get back to town. But it basically is a gem that allows you to get more gold to drop while doing Nephilim rifts, and you get some movement speed from it as well. Then greed goes down. We'll just go ahead and kind of go through the ancient vault too, because you can kind of see what that might look like. Once you open this chest, then a timer will start ticking down from a minute. So you have that time to grab whatever items and stuff. On an ancient vault, I usually try to go through and loot everything before I open up greed, because you're gonna get a lot of items in an ancient vault. So we'll go and clean our bags out here real quick. We're gotta wait anyway for this vault to close, and then we'll get that ancient one popping. I'm not gonna run through the cow level. It's pretty uneventful. There's a bunch of cows in there. It's a good place to actually sell power level if you've got you've used canes, borns, and you have a really good level 70 non-level, or one level requirement level 70. You can go through the cow level. Another thing you can do too is, if you're in a group or even by yourself, you can run a GR, and before you close the GR, the Greater Rift, you can open up a cow level and then grab one of the pools of reflection, and then come back out and close it, and then do another GR, and then go get the second one or whatever. Kind of just use it as an on-demand source for pools of reflection. All right, just like before, just like normally, we're gonna put the ancient one in here. We're gonna transmute. See, ancient vault, right? You'll see how this one's different. We're gonna go and grab all these gold stacks, but there's just gonna be a ton of goblins in here. Get all these guys down. And the type of goblin that you find in here is going to be obviously random. You know, sometimes you can get quite a bit of the blue goblins, or sometimes it's, you know, you'll get a few of the blood thieves, which give you blood shards. What I try to do is I try to actually run through here really fast before I loot everything, just so like I can kind of see what I'm working with. Look at this, a great source for DBs and just crafting mats. Go all the way down. I think that's about it. I don't think there's any more down here. Thing you want to do is you want to make sure you like loot everything before you go into greed, because you gotta realize you're only have a minute once you open the chest in order to grab everything. And greed is gonna drop, you know, some stuff. Yeah, he pretty much has the same drop table as he does in normal. The big difference between ancient and regular is going to be the fact that everything in here is going to be a goblin. So we're gonna go and grab this stuff. This video is already gonna be long, so if you've never seen an ancient vault, you know, it's helpful to see. Alright, we'll go and put these gems in here. Give us a little bit more space. Missed one. Pick up the rest. And those are unlisted, like both the cow level and the vault recipes are completely unlisted. Like they're not going to be on the 10-page recipe book that you find in the cube. Just something that you gotta, like, you know, after many years of playing. I mean, it's public knowledge now, but you know, there for a while. When puzzle rings were first, you know, given that functionality, you know, it took a minute for us to realize that you could just put them in the cube and basically force a vault. So normally you'll see a lot of people do that too. They'll just save the cow sticks and they'll save the puzzle rings and just either run them with friends or just save them all for like the and run them all at once. Do a little farm stuff. No real change in drop chance that I could tell. Like, you know, he already has like a pretty good loot table as it is. That's pretty much it. A lot of things you can do with the cube. Very integral part to the end game in Diablo. You know, just by like, you know, modifying, you know, weapons, just kind of hunting for, you know, stuff, and like just augmenting alone is going to help you progress really, really far. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Hit the subscribe button for more Diablo content. Hit the like button, leave me a comment down below. Also check out these other videos that I think you might be interested in. And like always, peace out. See you guys next time.